Senator Mitch McConnell finally dropped the demand that Democrats commit on paper to maintaining the legislative filibuster in the Senate. That would require 60 senators to vote in favor of legislation for it to pass. Now, the reason why Mitch McConnell decided to drop it is because two Democrats, Senators Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin, committed to maintaining the filibuster, which means that Democrats do not have enough votes to end the filibuster if they want to go in that direction. Now, here's what McConnell had to say via Twitter that's getting a lot of negative attention for obvious reasons. Today, I made clear that if Democrats ever attack the key Senate rules, it would drain the consent and comity out of the institution. A scorched earth Senate would hardly be able to function. It wouldn't be a progressive's dream. It would be a nightmare, I guarantee it. So I would argue that a progressive's dream is to be able to pass bold legislation that genuinely responds to the crises and the moment that we're experiencing right now. That would be a progressive's dream. A progressive's dream is not to have a system in place that makes it incredibly easy for Republican lawmakers to obstruct or stand in the way of those policies. And that's what the legislative filibuster genuinely does. That's what it's meant to do.
Yeah, I guess sort of the mistake that Mitch McConnell has made over the last 10 years or so is he has made it so clear who he is and what he'll do when a Democrat's in power versus when a Republican's in power, that any reasonable, rational, honest Democrat sees no need to try to negotiate with him or anything like that, because they know that it won't actually work. Like, the scorpion has its nature, that whole thing. Like, who he is. Now, there are still a couple of Democrats who are pretending that they can work in good faith with the Republicans. You named at least two, and there's theoretically more. Those are two who are like, they're at least saying now they will never support getting rid of the filibuster, even though they have to know that Mitch McConnell and the Republicans are planning to block literally everything the Senate wants to do. And to the extent that they can block things that Joe Biden wants to do, they'll do that too. Now, there are some areas where they can't, like with judges, because hey, remember that the filibuster can actually be reformed? They did that a little bit ago. Maybe we could just expand it. So, but outside of that, they will block literally everything from being done. And so Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin at this point are telegraphing to America that they are perfectly okay with nothing being done for the next 2 years, potentially for the next 4 years, almost certainly for the following 2 years, because if nothing is done, because they refuse to allow the filibuster to be reformed, the Democrats are gonna get destroyed in the midterm elections and lose control of the Senate once again. So this is not hypothetical. This isn't just like, hey, they've got a new minority leader. I wonder if we can trust him. We've already been through all of this. Everybody knows what he's going to do and what his caucus is gonna do. So all of the pressure in the world needs to be on those two at least, and maybe a few others besides, but definitely Sinema and Manchin.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, a spokesperson for Senator Sinema made clear that she will not change her mind regarding the filibuster. Senator Sinema is not open to changing her mind about eliminating the filibuster. So it's also rich to hear from someone like McConnell argue about the importance of maintaining key Senate rules. Because as we know, rules are very fluid in the perspective of Republican lawmakers, but the rules are very rigid when it comes to Democrats. When it came to confirming Amy Coney Barrett, all of a sudden their own the rule that they had regarding confirming Supreme Court justices with less than a year out before a presidential election is gonna take place, it changed. They had a very specific rule in place, an arbitrary rule in place when it came to confirming Merrick Garland. But when it came to a Supreme Court nominee by Donald Trump, a Republican, a conservative judge that they wanted confirmed, they got her confirmed right away. It didn't matter that it was close to the election. So Senate rules, this is my way of saying, Senate rules are arbitrary for the most part. The rules that McConnell is specifically talking about certainly are arbitrary. And it's not some constitutional thing that's set in stone that Senate lawmakers must abide by. Since the situation is always fluid for Republican lawmakers, I suggest that Democrats see it the same way. But it's hard to do that when you have conservative Democrats in Congress, in the Senate, who are essentially siding with Republicans on this. And it's not like they're siding with Republicans on one specific policy, guys. They're siding with Republicans on the entire structure of the Senate, which will have an impact on every piece of legislation that they vote on. Right? It's a way of just like nixing like every piece of policy that we care about, unless it gets done through reconciliation. And even in that case, Sinema and Manchin might serve as an obstacle there too.
That's true. Yeah, maybe we could hypothetically wish that, oh God, they just like the tradition of the filibuster. Why can't they just support that? Well, the tradition's not what they're making out to be anyway. But what they are signing up for is literally nothing being done. And from the point of view of the Democratic Party, you need to understand that that is as counter to your interests as possible, because it will result in Chuck Schumer losing control of the Senate. It'll result in Kamala Harris's bid in 2024 having no chance of succeeding. Like if the Democrats accomplish nothing, then they will lose. What they need to do is they need to understand that they need to be at least as ruthless in support of their agenda as Mitch McConnell has been. But understand that Mitch McConnell does it when the senators that make up his caucus represent like 40 million less Americans than the Democrats, and they cannot win a presidential election popular vote to save their lives or the future of their party. The Democrats actually have supporters. So maybe for once we could actually see what they can deliver for their constituents. And the only way that's gonna happen is getting rid of the filibuster. And the only way that is gonna happen is to get Sinema and Manchin to walk back those statements. Now, primarying Sinema in 2024 and Manchin, I think in the same, that's something you could do that. But you know what else you could do? Chuck Schumer could effectively make them not Democratic senators. He could strip them of all their committee assignments. He can stop them from actually meeting with Democrats. He could make their lives a living hell if he wants to. And I'll remind him, his future is on the line because he's not going to be the majority leader in 2 years if he doesn't get them to flip on the filibuster. So like, do it for idealism, do it because it's the only way to solve the problems. Or if you don't have that, if you don't have the values to justify that, do it out of political pragmatism. Do it for your future, the future of the Democratic Party, because they are going to kill the party.
John, I love that strong suggestion. I love it. I absolutely love it. Fascinating. Okay, well, we want to hear what you think about the filibuster. So we've started a petition that you can sign your name on. Just go to tyt.com/petition/filibuster. And this is a call to end the filibuster. Democrats have the White House, Senate, and House. They don't need a single Republican vote. Bipartisanship is an obvious excuse for inaction, and it prioritizes Republican politicians over Democratic voters. End the filibuster and pass every priority that helps the American people. So again, if you're interested, please check this out. It's at tyt.com/petitions/filibuster. And I hope they fight, because you're right. Even if they don't care about the American people and it's all about self-interest, Chuck Schumer, look out for yourself or else you're gonna get voted out.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.